Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are looking at a new kind of artificial intelligence. It's not here to just crunch your numbers or optimize your funnels. No, this AI is designed to do something way more interesting. It wants to change how you think.
But to get what makes this AI so different, we first have to talk about this obsession we all have in the business world, logic, right? We're told over and over that the most logical, data-driven path is always the best one. But what if it's not?
The advertising legend Rory Sutherland, who's the inspiration for this whole thing, he just put it perfectly. The problem with logic is it kills off magic far too early. And that one idea, it just throws a wrench in this core assumption that every single business decision has to be ruthlessly logical. I mean, really think about that for a second. What if your next big breakthrough isn't buried deep in a spreadsheet? What if the real key to unlocking innovation comes from backing away from the data just a little bit and embracing something, well, something more human? And this really lays out the two different worlds, doesn't it? On one side, you've got logic. It gets you data, it gets you optimization, and that's useful for sure. But it often leads to everyone doing the exact same thing. And on the other side, you've got magic. Now that's all about human psychology. It's about that little hit of dopamine that makes an idea feel exciting. That sparks a real connection, a real breakthrough.
And this is the trap of so much AI today. When every single company has access to the same fire hose of data, the same models, the same logical rules, what do you get? You get a sea of sameness. You get optimization without any real inspiration. And honestly, it's kind of boring.
So, if being too logical is the problem, the solution has to be something that thinks differently. The answer isn't to just ditch the data, but to supercharge it with a totally new kind of intelligence. You need a behavioral alchemist.
And here it is, Rory AI, also known as the Behavioral Alchemist. And that name is so deliberate. You know, alchemists weren't trying to make lead a little bit better. They were trying to transform it into gold. And that's the goal here. Not just to optimize your ideas, but to totally transform them.
So what is it? Well, it's basically a digital twin of Rory Sutherland himself, trained on decades of his work in advertising and behavioral science, which means its primary goal isn't just to bump your conversion rate by a couple of points. No, its real purpose is to make you question the entire problem you think you're solving. It's about reframing the question, not just sharpening the answer.
So when do you actually reach for this thing? You use it when your product pitch just feels meh, and you know it needs some magic. Or when your offer is so perfectly logical that it creates zero actual desire. You use it when you're drowning in data, but you have none of that dopamine that makes people actually get up and do something. It's your go-to tool for testing the wonderfully counterintuitive.
Okay, so injecting magic sounds fantastic, right? But how does an AI actually pull that off? Let's peel back the curtain and see how it works. It kind of works in these 4 stages. First, it reframes your problems. It asks, are you even solving the right thing? Second, it challenges your perception. It goes after all those assumptions you have about what people want or what a price means. Then it starts to nudge, anchor, and delight, using all these little tricks from behavioral science. And finally, it injects storytelling and humor, the stuff that actually makes ideas stick in our brains.
Let's make this really concrete. Imagine you give the AI a super common problem. You say, reframe my boring product pitch.
Now, a normal AI might just give you better adjectives, but Rory AI reframes the entire goal. It says the point isn't just to sell something, it's to make the customer feel clever for buying it. And that little shift from selling to them to empowering them, that's a huge psychological lever.
Or what about this classic marketing puzzle that logic just hates? Why on earth do premium prices sometimes convert better? You can't find that answer in a spreadsheet.
This is where it gets really cool. The AI looks right past the numbers and sees the psychology at play. It'll bring up stuff like signaling theory, where a high price is actually a signal of confidence and quality. It understands the psychological value, which is all about perception, not just cost. It sees the human game being played behind the data.
So when you start combining this kind of reframing with deep psychological insights and great storytelling, what do you get? Well, you get the one thing that pure logic can never, ever give you, a real unfair advantage.
And this is the absolute heart of it.
Perception is the last great unfair advantage. In a world where your competitors can copy your product, your features, your data models, the one thing they can't easily copy is how people feel about you. And that is the entire ballgame.
This is the ultimate payoff. Logic might get you noticed. It might even get you a click. But in a world drowning in noise, it rarely gets you remembered. And being remembered is pretty much the only thing that matters.
All of this really points to a whole new philosophy, one that flips a lot of conventional business wisdom right on its head. It's a call to move away from just making tiny little tweaks and towards something much bigger.
In fact, the AI itself gives you this final piece of advice. If you never test the illogical, you'll miss the irrationally effective. It's such a great reminder that the ideas that look the worst on a spreadsheet are often the ones that have the biggest impact in the real world.
So the final message here is simple. Don't just optimize, alchemize. Stop polishing the same old ideas and start transforming them into something truly new, genuinely valuable, and completely unforgettable.
And you can actually experience this for yourself right now. Rory AI is available on ChatGPT. You don't need to be some prompt engineering genius to use it. All you need is a problem you're stuck on and a little bit of curiosity.